happy Groundhog Day, and we will be recording this program. So just give us a moment while everybody comes in.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Let's see.
So I think we can do some housekeeping while some people are coming in. In the unlikely event, hello.
Oh,
We will be recording. Everybody should be on mute for right now. In the unlikely experience that some uninvited guest comes in, we will end the meeting, but we will restart and you should be able to rejoin without any issues. We don't have any real issues concerns right now, just to be careful. Thank you. This presentation is being recorded, and slides and recordings and unanswered questions will be shared with anyone who has registered. So good morning and happy Groundhog Day. We have a little contradiction. The Philadelphia and Pennsylvania Punxsutawney Phil says 6 more weeks of winter, but seems like Chuck in New York says spring. So it's snowing. I think we got still some winter to go. I'm Irene Congdon, and I am the Central Mass Municipal Assistance Coordinator, the MAC. And we are a team effort, and the rest of the MACs are here today. We have Todd, who's going to be doing our polls, Janice, who's going to be doing our chat, following the chat, Vonique in Western Mass, Kathy in the Southeast, Julia in the Northeast, Carrie in the Cape, and Sharon in the Northeast. And thank you. This is Sharon, thank you for all your amazing work, and we wish you the best for retirement, but we know we will see you soon. And we are welcoming Gail Bernard, who will be officially starting in the Northeast next week. So we haven't even gotten to see you yet. So this is our first hello, and we will be working with you more. We also have Will, who is our RDP coordinator in Boston. So you'll hear more from him in the presentation. All of you are in listen only mode, but you can communicate using the chat feature. So that's on the bottom that you can write with. And you can hover over your screen and click on the chat icon. If you want to take a moment now, if you can change your name so that it includes your community or organization, that's a way that we can see who's here, as well as other people. You can also chat not only for everybody, but you can also chat with each other, one person. Sorry about the phone here. We will be, because we have so many people today, we will be answering questions at the end of the presentations, but they will be taking your comments and questions throughout the presentations by chatting. So today's agenda, we'll be doing an hour-and-a-half program. Things might change because of the snow, meaning that some of the people have called in and said they weren't able to come in today due to being sick or the snow or an emergency. So we've had a few of the presenters that are unable to come, but we have some of them, we have their presentations so we can walk through, and others, we will share their presentations with the notes. We will also have a 30 minutes at the end of the event for the MAC breakouts so that you can be with your MAC. Like I said, I'm the Central Mass MAC, so then Central Mass communities can come together and talk about what you've learned here or other issues that are coming up. The rest of the agenda will be, Groton will be sharing and Sturbridge about best practices at the transfer stations. Note that Groton had only about a little over 1,000 pounds of trash per household. We go by the per household, per participation, per year. And they've had about 16 16 points of RDP points. So it gives you an idea that these communities are doing really good and they're great examples. And then we'll have Sturbridge, which to me, I think has the lowest amount of pounds per household. In 2019, everything of course changed in 2020 of everybody cleaning house, and we don't have the data yet. But in the past years, they've generated about 400 pounds per household per year. So this is a great example when we're talking about zero waste of how communities get there. We'll be taking a poll and answering questions. Then we'll get into the payment methods, which I know everybody's is very eager on. So Chicopee is not available today, but we will have a link to their website. South Hadley will talk, Holyoke, and Sandwich about their different types of payment methods when we'll get into the next questions and time and poll. And then we'll do a wrap up with Will and what kind of what can you use your RDP money for? And another poll, and that will wrap us up to right into the MAC breakout session. So let's get started. Thank you for everybody coming here. We already have 90 people. That is just great. With a snowstorm, we were really kind of worried how things would go today. Best practices. We all know that we have a lot of transfer stations that are some of them are olders, and it's the old landfills, and we kind of just kept on adding and adding and adding, or taking away when some communities went to single stream. Sorry about that. So we're going to have Groton share. So I have Tessa David here, who's the recycling committee chair for Groton, as well as the Mass Toss director. So she's going to share her slide right here.
Tessa, can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, you're muted. There we go. Hello, the Groton Recycling Center and Transfer Station. Yes, I am the director of the Mass Toss Cooperative and Devon's Regional Household Hazardous Waste Collection Center, and then the Groton Recycling Committee chair. So I want to share with you several items that the transfer station does successfully. And let me change this to the site. So I'm going to go to the town of Groton has found that the transfer station is one of the most popular sites to visit. So on their main page, as you see here on the right here, is the transfer station, easily found. And on the site, when you jump to the site, you see the transfer station, the hours of operation, pricing, what the prices are for various items that aren't the entrance stickers. They do have pay as you throw, and there are entrance stickers and then bags. So the pricing for bags is listed on the website. And then through the IQ grant, the town made this two-sided flyer, which is a map of the transfer station. And part of the IQ, they did a color coding. So it's wonderful. All the blue areas are recycling. So blue is listed here. The trash, the bags are orange. So orange is trash items. Then reuse items are green, organics are brown, and special handling items are red. The second half is also the IQ kit, these wonderful graphics that DEP gave us to show those basic recycling. Do that well, and we will be doing well. We don't worry about some of the nitnoids, but we do list some of those other items that are also collected at the transfer station. Additionally, the Groton transfer station just added food waste. So there's a detail here on the food waste, a link to the Black Earth who won the contract to handle the food waste actually collection site on and at the transfer station adjacent to it. Additionally, household hazardous waste is noted. Do-it-yourself compost bins, there's the discount through the RDP funds. The transfer station sells discounted compost bins and the kitchen scrap buckets and food waste bags. Then, of course, we have our food waste, our perfect composting recipe right on the site. And then just to add a little bit more, the recycling committee said, okay, we'll give you extensive tour of the transfer station. So broken up in about less than a minute to 2-minute segments, the recycling committee goes through the transfer station. I'll let you do this. I'll show you. You click this here. So if you'd like to go through all areas of the transfer station, you can click on that on the Town of Groton site. So now I'm going to jump back to my PowerPoint here. So here's just going to be a short, quick tour of the transfer station. So you can get the detailed one on the website. So here is at the entrance of the transfer station. And here's the color coding I told you about with a sign to show residents, which the IQ grant was used. Then it's put at each of the bays. So at the bays where you recycle your various items, these signs were set up specifically designed to make it very clear, minimize words, and a visual cue along with the words, because staff used to hang items and they would get knocked off, knocked over. And we used actually street signs, which are the aluminum signs, so that they're heavy duty and they'll last. Additionally, the transfer station took advantage of the Mass DEP funded grant for mattress recycling. It has just ended and the town has charged a fee so that it's sustainable. And so people will continue to receive or use this mattress container to recycle their good and reusable mattresses. Thank you to the initiation. They started it because of that DEP grant. They also, the big exciting thing was to have processed glass aggregate machine, because the town found that glass, as many found, that glass was becoming difficult to recycle. So now they have a machine. And I went back there and took these current pictures because as they use it, they clean up in between. They do put containers underneath these to catch all the glass that's ground up. It's dumped into this hopper, goes up the line. They put this nice, their own little cover on it to keep the snow out, and so that it can go down into through the hopper. As you see, there's a sticker. This was also a Mass DEP grant funded. And now this container here, which is where they store the glass, there's a real fine glass here on the side that looks white. Well, that's because glass originated as sand, and you could, when you grind it back up, it basically looks like it's a sand. And then you can have a more coarse grind, or this little toter here, I told you it goes underneath, it catches all the debris. Labels, lids, and the like will go and hop into there. The town used RDP funds to pay for that. This is another exciting new thing. They just started. In fact, I just popped that sign on top, no plastic bags, because it's new to people, and we realized food scrap. Yes. So we have food scrap there, but we realized these lovely compostable bags to some people look like plastic. So I just put this sign there. It says no plastic bags in the food waste, because obviously our trash bags are in plastic, and they throw this over on the side. And so when they throw out their trash, then they can put their food waste over here on the side. But it lets people know compostable bags are available in the office, but they're not required. You can put it in your kitchen scrap bucket and just dump it straight in. They're not required. Some people like it to help reduce the ick factor. So also on the side, the vendor put Black Earth, this little list of yays and nays of what can be composted and what cannot, and it's virtually everything. And lovely, especially nice that you can put your food or your bones and your meat, which you don't want to put in your home composting area, which I do. I home compost, but that's just wonderful. And eggshells, I love it. Put all the eggshells there as well. So if you have any questions about this, here's my contact information. We're thrilled, and we're really, the town was really thankful for all the incentives they received from Mass DEP to set up many of these new programs. And it allowed the director to be innovative. Tom Delaney and his staff and are very proud, and you can tell they've kept up the color coding. And this is a current picture that you can see behind me. I ran down there, it was getting a little dark, and you can see it still. They keep it very nice and neat. There's hardly litter to be found, even though they bale everything. So enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Tessa, for sharing. I want everybody to keep on putting their questions in the chat so that we can get to them. But I think what we're still going to do is I'm going to go through the Sturbridge one. And then at the end of that, then we're going to go through all the questions that you have. So please take a moment and put all your questions that you have in the chat so that when we are ready for questions, we can do that. The thing that I think that comes out for Groton, just so you know, is not only they receive different grants from DEP, but the IQ kit and seeing all the color coding is just amazing. That it has a unified message, which I like. And you'll see in a moment is very different when we just keep on adding things, which you'll see in Sturbridge, and that the new programs of like that we're focusing on glass, it's so heavy, and to use it as aggregate is just great. And the mattresses, which is we're planning to do the waistbands on that. We'll be having more discussions about the mattress ban and the proposed ban. And the organics is #1 of before. In the past, I don't know, 50 years, we've been focusing on paper and cardboard, and that those are the things that weigh the most or is still in our trash. But in the last, what we have is the comprehensive audit that we do at the landfills and the incinerators on a DEP level. Organics has moved to that top part of about 26% of our trash is organics. So this is great that Groton's already taking that out. And being a pay-as-you-throw community, I don't know if Tessa shared this, but it is an open site. So non-residents can go there for recycling, composting the mattresses, the glass. You don't need a sticker. You can just go there, which is just wonderful.
Residents only need a sticker if they have trash, and non-residents only need a sticker if they have trash. So non-residents can come, and there are no fees for the recycling.
So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you Sturbridge's program here. And so let's see if that goes full screen. Oh, I got to get that to the beginning. So I'm going to share with you this to give you a little thing here. We did this during COVID and during times that we are spacing out. So it's very hard to hear. And I am not a professional camera person. So this is normally we'd have like a tour. And so I kind of think of this as instead of us driving, which we'd have had to cancel because of the snow. You get this. This is, we're going to go over it, but it's going to be unmuted, and I'm going to give you like, go over their program here. So Ken, and I think I have to back up before, and that's John Booth. And like I said before, they generate about 430 pounds per household per year at this transfer station. And they have their own landfill. So most towns don't have their own landfill anymore. And the focus here is reuse. So a lot of us have a take it or leave it shed or books because we get RDP points for those. But they not only have 2 bins, they have 9 bins, 9 buildings. That's the swap shed. They have other bins over here because they fill up. And they not only take the swap items, which are just household items, but you can see here the clothes and the books and the shoes they gather, the universal waste shed. And for tubes, sorry, I think this bin here, I find it the most interesting and love is that this is a rat pack, but I know other communities use other different companies that they move it in and out. This was for furniture to go to Goodwill. So it's not like a take it or leave it that the resident gets to pick it out. The resident drops off their good items that Habitat for Humanity could use. And instead of it going in the debris, which it would go before, into burnable, this is construction and demolition, but they are able to reuse the items. The other thing that's interesting in Sturbridge is that they have their own household hazardous waste station that is open the third Saturday of each month. It's about 8 months out of the year. And they have their own staff. So they have one person that is the chemist that does the whole operation. And then they have 2 other people that they hire to do the pouring off. And because of they do it in-house, it is a lot cheaper for them. And it's pretty much everything that you would get at Walmart. So you kind of think of it's benign, but it's stuff that cannot go into the landfill. And but it is household hazardous waste. They do not take latex paint at this time. But who knows, where there is discussion about more paint take back here soon. So that might be something for them. This is also, it's hard to see of their electronics section. They normally have the big pallets out there and people would stack them up, but we came at the end of the day, and we also came right when it snowed a couple weeks ago. So it looks a little different than it would on a typical day. Yeah, he's gonna go through here. A lot of bins that they did get from Mass DEP, so clean wood. So this is something that when furniture comes through that cannot be reused, then it can be completely separated. And they separate everything. This is one of my communities that does do the most amount of separating the metals, the heavy metals, the aluminum, and then he actually does baling, and we're going to see that shortly here. Of one thing that you guys can use RDP money for is to have a professional person take a video, or working with your which Groton did before on those wonderful videos that they have on their website, is the local cable. So this, like I said, was just so that we could have like a tour. But because I'm 6 to 10 feet away from him and don't have a mic, the for him talking goes in and out, in and out. So of course this is their new mattress bin, and it's working out really well. And then they have an extra bin for recyclables that keeps on moving back and forth. The way that to cut back on transportation, because that's really the biggest cost that comes up, is and that's why a lot of communities have gone to single stream, is because, oh, we gotta cut back on transportation. But what he has found out, if he bails it, or if he does I'm sorry, this is back and forth, back and forth. Like I said, I am not a camera person. This is their bales that they do, which I find very interesting. Before COVID, he said 3 bales of cardboard every Saturday, and now it's 7 bales of cardboard every Saturday. So that is a tremendous amount. He's keeping them under cover, the cardboard and the paper. He has the bales of the aluminum and the plastic there. So this is the main entrance, where we went a little backwards here just so that you can see the focus really is on reuse. Like I said, sorry, don't get a headache looking at this. So this is their entrance. People come in, they show, they don't have a main sticker. They have one sticker for, this is just for Sturbridge residents, and they have a sticker for life. They are discussing to increase it and to get people, and you can see the difference of all the signs. They have a new sign there, but a lot of the signs are homemade, and it's just because things get added, they get moved around. But they have the waistband items and all the things that they take, the burnables, the construction and demolition, the white goods, the appliances, the biohazards, oil. The yard waste is down the road that they're taking, the Christmas trees. So they have a lot going on, and it's all really done through the Board of Health doing the policy and hires this John Booth to do the facilitating of it. And it is really the attendant, the person that is the face of the transfer station, that I think is really important, that we sometimes miss. You can have a great layout, you can take the right stuff, your economics can work nice, but if there is not somebody who's dedicated or likable, and we've had a couple places that had in Central Mass that the attendant people just didn't like, and so then they just all went curbside. Um, but they do like him. And he's been there a long time, and he feels, which I think is the difference in this transfer station than others, is that yes, the trash goes in the hopper here. It's a pay-as-you-throw bag. It goes to their own landfill, and so that's why people value it. They know it's staying in town, but he markets his own material, so he knows the markets. Um, they consider material management to be primary. So it's not like another transfer station would just be like, dump your trash, dump your recyclables, get off the property as soon as possible. It's just like, we're just moving the material and getting it out of town as soon as possible. The trash is going to be here, and it's going literally just about 1,000 feet down the road to their own landfill, their covered line landfill. Then you want material to go the next step. So reuse and then recycle. So this was his old sign he was showing me of things that are banned from the trash. And it's $3 for unapproved bags, for bags that will be applied if they don't follow the rules. And it's just that there is a lot of things that people can separate. And sometimes we always forget is, where's the batteries, where's the bulbs going, and who's doing the education. And you can definitely see the big difference from Sturbridge from Groton of signage. Well, Sturbridge has never gotten a grant for that, and has not. We've updated a few signs, but it's nice to have the color coding and all the operations here. Ken was sharing that he is not only the Board of Health director in Sturbridge, he is also a Board of Health member in the town of Warren that has their own transfer station. And he would like to expand like this, but it's all about economics of how you can move the materials. So we're going to get down here to the recyclable section. And there is a lot of people, like I said, would just have a single stream bin. This is comprehensive. And like, it's all comprehensive because of this man. John Booth has been there over 25 years, and he is very dedicated to work with the vendors. He doesn't just strictly work with a MRF, because he works with the metal company, he works with the paper company, he's working with the glass. It's some things he just has to find markets for, and he does the calling and the back and forth and has the relationships.
We do have a few questions. I don't know if you want to answer them now, Irene.
We're almost done here. I just wanted to to
Well,
go through the
one was
newspapers.
a question about sort of how it runs. I guess the question was, is it one way? I think the traffic.
Yes, it is one way, but there's so much I wanted to kind of go around in a circle kind of thing. It is a one in and a one out, but everybody parks and does the reuse and the recyclables. So yes. And so you can see he's doing number 2s, he's doing number 1 plastics, and he bales them all there because you can only get about 1.5 tons, I think, if he was going to ship that container just the way it is. But the way he ships it is he's baling it and can put 26 bales onto a truck. So that's what saves the economics of it. Oh, pretty much. when new markets come through, we did have a couple companies that were doing styrofoam. He was doing that for a while. That did stop. He has, we're gonna see cans here in a second, but I think, like I said, I'm sorry, I'm not the best.
Irene, do
person,
they
but I
do
can
they
take
bail all of their recyclables at Sturbridge?
everything except glass. Yeah.
And do you know who they're selling it to?
They have it down. They have a variety of different companies. So his metal guy is his primary because that's where they get the most amount of money right now. And I don't have the list of all the other different companies that he takes, that they take the bales of the cardboard and they take the bales of the paper. But yeah, so I can stop the screen here.
One other question was, did
Yeah.
they make money on their dual stream?
So everything is source separated. They're right now unhappy because of the markets, but I keep on telling them that a lot of other places are paying so much to get rid of it that they just miss having the revenue come in, that the recyclables for them were actually paying for the entire budget pretty much all the way up to last year. So because of the change in markets, they are not self-sufficient as they once were. But I don't, nobody's in that situation. But they are better in that they're not paying for the processing of it, but they are paying for the transportation. So that's why the baling is so important. And note that they have one baler that's a little older. I want to say it's 10 years old. And they're going to be they've stockpiled their RDP money so that they have $20,000 that they are using for their next baler, which they already bought in December and which will be arriving shortly. So I can take some.
So there were a lot of questions for Tessa and
Yeah,
for Sturbridge. One of the ones though that just asked us clarifying, did you just say that they have a lifetime use sticker?
So at the present moment, yeah, it is. You pay $20 and you get a sticker, and it's a hanging sticker, and that they can use it from vehicle to vehicle. So it's really just for Sturbridge residents, and if you're a Sturbridge resident, it's right now you have access to the transfer station for very little for life. Yeah, they are discussing to make the economics work in the past couple of years here. Like I said, to say, hey, it is time to up the fee to at least $35 a year. That still might have pushback because they want all residents to use it, but we're only counting for the trash of how much they generate by the people that come and bring their household trash. Just so you know that.
So I wasn't sure, are we ready for questions now for those
Yes.
two? Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, I just didn't want to.
No, Ken was going to be here to share, but he's the Board of Health director, and due to snow and COVID, he just texted me about 30 minutes ago and said that he's in emergency.
Okay, so there were some questions for Tessa, and so one of the questions, Tessa, is where and how are recyclables removed from bays? Is it bales? Is it transported? How, where?
Yes, so the DPW staff, of which there are 2 that service the transfer station, there's about 1,300 residents, households that use the transfer station, and they use equipment to empty the material out of the bays, and then they bail them all. All the recycling items get bailed.
And so they just find their own vendors for each material?
And then for each product, yes, and then they market it. And they found that they get some good economies of scale if they do full truckloads. So they also do some baling and take in some recycling from some surrounding towns. We'll bring in material, they'll bail it for them, they'll charge them a processing fee, but then they share in the revenue of that material once it's sent. And it's a benefit to Groton because then they get a whole trailer full. So they have some trailers on site that they are filling up with the various recyclables.
Question is, what do you charge for mattress recycling?
So all the fees are on the website and I put the link in the chat. It looks like they're charging $30 per mattress, at
Per
least now
mattress?
they are. Yes,
Does that include the box spring?
yes.
And does the town DPW use the aggregate glass?
do.
Or does it have to be carted away?
No, they use it all. They have been using it for bedding for pipes in the road work. And then they've also been using it for drainage, for ground, for areas where water is settling to help the ground drain. So they've been able to use everything they've generated.
Who operates the PGA?
So that's the same two guys that run the transfer station go over there when they bail items, or they'll go over and take the glass over to the PGA machine and run the PGA machine.
Okay, so then I had a couple questions for you for the food waste. I'm going to try to scroll through and find them all. But what volume of food waste are you seeing?
You know, it just started. As I said, I just put up that sign to make sure people understand not to put plastic bags into the container. So we were trying to roll it out the beginning of November, but there was some early storms and the like ending there. And then I just had a flyer put in all the households the end of January. So the electric light department sends bills, and then I had a flyer about the food waste, which can be dropped off at the transfer station or for free, or you can pay 50% of what you normally would and have it picked up at your curb. And there is a link to Black Earth, and Black Earth Compost is doing that. So we haven't quite, we've just aren't up to volume yet as far as using that. But the Garden Club is helping get the word out. They're supportive of it. There's several other groups that have been into the recycling committee, obviously.
Great. I'm not finding the other questions that I thought I had, but so I think these ones are for Sturbridge. So
You did ask about fees. There are no fees for non-residents at the Groton Transfer Station for recycling. They cannot bring trash or other items like that, but
what about the organics? What about the food? Can they do it without the fee?
That's free. So drop off food waste, yes. You know what? Actually, during COVID, I apologize. And of course, their COVID rules, it's always been open, the transfer station, but they have just had to implement restrictions on how many people can come in to reduce the congregating, because it's always been a fun place to go and congregate. So I'm sorry, at this time, non-residents cannot go there, but they've always been allowed before. And there's no cost to drop off food waste. But because they have to meter out people, non-residents can't come at this time.
I was getting excited.
I know, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So do you guys have a baler then, but does Sturbridge have a baler?
Yes, so they have one baler right now, and they'll have another one in about a month. So
And so
have
another question for Sturbridge was, how many staff cover the recycle and reuse bins?
So one during the week, which is John, and then during the week and Saturday, he'll have 2 other helpers. And then for hazardous waste, it's 3 people added on just for that site, that area.
So then there's another question for Sturbridge. Who monitors people as they enter with their items? If they are fined for something, who issues the fine? Is there a pay on the spot?
Yeah, so John Booth is right there, or another attendant would be right there at the gate. So after he knows everybody there's about 1,800 people that use the transfer station there, and they all have it's a smaller town. They've been there for so long, so everybody. If you don't know somebody who doesn't know the operation of where to take something, then another resident or John would share what they need to do.
And so Tessa was saying that in Groton they take it to the vendor, but do they do that in Sturbridge too, or does the vendor come and haul it away?
Right. We have they hire a truck to take things to the vendor, or some vendors will actually come to the site. So it depends. That's the one thing about when you're dealing with all these vendors, there's normally different scheduling, of Some do pickup, some do, you have to drop it off to them. So they have a lot of hauling operations going on there.
So this is for Tessa. How big is your recycling committee? How many people are on it?
So there are 4 members on the recycling committee. And we have a friend as well. So we're very happy and very fortunate. And you'll see many of them in the recordings.
And then, so somebody asked just, how do you keep non-residents from dropping off trash? Is one of the 2 staff always monitoring? Do they get pushback?
You come at there's an entrance gate. So as you come in, let's see, you can't see, it's behind me in my picture here. But anyway, as you come in, there's an entrance gate.
Okay. And then, so then there's like just a lot of conversation about the swap sheds and, are they open? And my understanding is that the swap sheds are by and large not open right now. Is that the case for Sturbridge and Groton?
So for Sturbridge, they are open, and people can use them. I know with COVID, a lot of places have been closed, but if you do one person at a time, then it's open. And of course, they have the multiple bins for clothes and shoes and books, so that's always open. Tessa, I think you want to share about your online for Groton, which is
well, 2 things. So I know many of the transfer stations in my communities, the Masshouse communities, have closed their indoor facilities, but there are some outdoor, like Groton has walls all around where you drop off your trash and where the metal piles are, where good reusable items, and I always get so excited. Even if I don't have any trash, you go over there and look, and you find so many cool things along the wall, and obviously that's still open. And then the recycling committee in 2004 set up Groton Free Stuff, and we have helped detour thousands of tons of recycling. You just ask, when do you want it? And I'll just let me know about when. I leave it at my mailbox and you can come and pick it up, or please leave it at, out for me and I'll come and pick it up. So wants, or things you want to give away is Groton Free Stuff.
Which has just changed. So you want to add, what's the new website?
So now it's, yes, because Yahoo Groups discontinued, it's now under Trash Nothing. So, but if you Google Groton Free Stuff, it's a Trash Nothing group.
And the one thing that's great about that, because I'm also on that as a regular person, is that some big stuff and small stuff. So some things you really don't want to put in at the going to like just a bin or even a swap shed, like fancy needles. It's like nobody will appreciate these needles, but if I put them on Groton Free Stuff, then that person will use them. Or a house went. Somebody was going to demolish a house, and they're like, "Come, you can either pick up the whole house, or you can come and just take the
parts." Yes, they took. Awesome. Yes, they allowed them take the gutters or the steps and.
So So it's 10:45. I'm not sure.
Yep. So now we're gonna stop our questions. Now, if you have others, we'll get back to you later in our notes. And Todd, if we can do our first poll. So if everybody can. So I'll just give it a moment until we get. Our next focus, as you can see, is going to be on payments. So we want to get everybody's idea of what they're currently doing for payments. If you're a speaker, I'm sorry, you can't do the poll. You're like, where's my button? I think
we'll give it a few more seconds. Wait till it gets up to 75% or so.
Yeah.
We'll shut it down.
That might be. I might not get the.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. So close the poll, please, and let's review it so everybody can share the results here. So number one, check its site, 58%. Cash at the site. Cash at town hall. Another one was check at town hall. And then, of course, credit card is coming up more and more, 20% online, 17% at site, 14% at town hall. And then we have 9 communities said other, which will be, so I think we'll be able to hear about some of the other events. But if we don't share the other, please put in, actually, whoever did the other, the 9 people, if you can put in the chat what you do, so the rest of us can just see, what do you mean by other? I think that would be good to see. So please add that to the chat. So if we can close that out, and we're going to start. The payment methods, of course, with COVID have got us all thinking of different ways we can, if it doesn't go off automatically, there's a X on the right-hand corner to X out the poll. But we're going to have, oh, I was going to share, so I'm going to share my screen to do Chicopee, because I'm assuming Barry's not here, right? Because he said he was.
Brian's here. So Brian-
Dave
Oh.
Gilbert is here for Barry.
Oh, wonderful. Great. I'm so glad you can join us today.
Yeah, it was a little short notice, and it's only my second time doing it, so you can be patient. Are you ready for me to start sharing and do the PowerPoint presentation?
Absolutely. Thank you.
I understand I should shoot to have about 5 minutes.
I can go a little, yep.
All right, so let me make sure I hit the buttons correctly. Share screen and PowerPoint presentation, Chicopee. And stand by. From beginning. All right, you guys see that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so I pulled this together for Barry, and from what I understand, the gist of this whole presentation is how we do our payment system at the City of Chicopee. So we started off with a picture of our website, which we try to direct as many people to as possible. And right on the main page of the City of Chicopee website in the lower left-hand corner is a link to the trash and recycling. When the residents click on that link.
Dave,
yep.
Dave, is there any way
Yes.
you can make your screen a little bit bigger? I think it's a little bit hard to see. I'm not sure if there's like a zoom function on there. You can make it bigger, but if not, I don't want to fluster you. I got that question. I just wanted to see if we could resolve it.
Yeah, Janice, just to let you know, there's 2 little gray lines. If you move your cursor, if you're in gallery view, you can move those to make his presentation larger.
Yeah, it's not jumping out at me on how to make that bigger, so I apologize.
That's okay. Carry on. Sorry about that.
Okay. All right. So if they select the trash and recycling in the lower left-hand corner of our website, that brings them to a whole menu of things that we offer. We do not have a transfer station, but we do have a drop-off center. And the drop-off center is recyclable items, some paid items, yard waste, grass, branches, and things like that. And we do take a few of the paid items we take are like mattresses at $20 a piece, although we do charge for the box springs as well at $20 a piece, and regardless of the size. And so in the lower part of your screen, you'll see there's a drop-off center information on what it is that we can give them a whole, I think it's like 9 pages, which I'm not going to go through. But on the first page of that link, it shows them a picture of our hours, our location, and that they're supposed to pre-register before coming. Once they're pre-registered, if it's for a no charge item, they're good for a year and they can come as many times as they want. And then they just check in at the drop-off shed. If it's a paid item, they have to redo the permit every time, because when they pull out a permit for a paid item, it then prompts them to do a payment, and then it's a separate permit altogether. On the right side of your screen, it would be further down within that website on page 6, which actually spells out the no charge items that we take, like brush, yard waste, styrofoam, cardboard, computers, electronics, and without monitors, books, rigid plastics, metal, single stream recycling, textiles, and universal waste. And then the 3 fee items that we take are mattresses, tires, and anything with a monitor, whether it's a TV, laptop. So then the next page, now that they know what we take and what it is that they want to bring, back on our website, beneath that same section under trash and recycling, there's a link for the permit registration for the drop-off center. If they were to select that link, it brings them to Permitize, which is from Full Circle Technologies, I believe the name is. It's a company that set up our website for us. And this Permitize section is their website that we work with them to set up, which once again explains what it is that we bring, some basic rules and hours and location, and it gives them a link to apply for a trip ticket. And once they select the trip ticket, it brings them to another page, which we made agreements for Permitize to work with our assessor's database. And so as soon as they put in the street number and name, it populates the information that we have from the assessor's database. Now, if it's different, they can then change it at that time, but that also helps save time by having it pre-populated. If they happen to be a tenant, they can then change the bottom part where it says the actual application. So one would be the actual street that they live at, and then the second one is the person that's actually bringing it. The red asterisks are the things that actually have to be filled out. Once they fill that out and hit the next button, it then brings them to the page that has them check off what it is they're going to bring. If they select items that are not going to be a fee, once they hit submit, that's all they have to do. But if in this case here, as an example, we checked off a tire, any item that's going to be charged for, when they fill it out here, it's going to total it at the bottom. It gives them the disclaimer and fine print of it can be residents only, no refunds, etc. And when they hit submit, if any of the chargeable items are selected, it's going to bring them to the UniPay site. But before they get to that UniPay site, for those people that don't want to pay online and they want to go to City Hall, at this time, they could print the form if they want, but they don't have to because it's all saved in the computer on the servers. They could then go to City Hall and pay with a cash or check, and then City Hall would check it off that it's paid. But if they want to follow through with doing everything online at this point, they would select at the bottom, online payment, which is then going to bring them to the UniPay site. Because we do not take any payments at all at our drop-off center, whether it's check or anything. And before COVID, we at least had a kiosk computer set up for the public to use that they could do it all right here and pay with their credit card, but we would not input that information for them. So I believe the next screen is going to be as if they were to select the online payment. It's going to reiterate the name and address and the ticket that they're going to be paying for. And before they move forward, they can review the amount at this point on the UniPay side. UniPay is yet another company that has a relationship with Permitize that takes care of all of the credit card stuff. So once they hit submit, it brings them to the UniPay website. And so once again, there's a fee that's going to be involved if you're actually using a credit card, which I know it's really small on your screen, but for the most part, it's $2.50 for the majority of the credit cards, some as high as $3.95. And if they want to pay with an online check, it's only 25 cents. Any of these fees go to UniPay, and that's what they get out of it for doing the service on our behalf. And so once again, if the individual that's doing this does not want to do this, they can then get out of it. But if they were to go forward, they understand that there's going to be a fee involved with doing this process. Once they hit the checkout button on the UniPay site, they will have the option of creating a UniPay login, but it is not required. If they were to do that, it makes it easier the next time they sign up for a payable item. It would save their information, but they can just check out as guest. Once they check out as guests, they put down the information that is going to be charged to their credit card, and they would then have to fill out their billing information and hit the checkout as guest. So that is a whole online payment portion. And if they did not do the online portion, they can pay in person with a cash or check at City Hall. Either way, the way Permit Eyes explained it to me is they have software set up with UniPay for the servers to talk to each other. So if they were to pay online, immediately Permit Eyes would be notified by UniPay to put into our website to say that that particular trip ticket had been paid. If they were going to be paying it at City Hall, it would show as pending until City Hall actually paid it. Sorry, there's a little background noise from somebody. All right, the admin slide. So this particular section is only accessible to the individuals that are on the city side of the equation that can look at all the different trip tickets that are put in. And I know it's really small on your screen, but we can see everybody's most recent application, their address, and whether or not it's a pending, completed, or if the fee has actually been paid. So that when the individual comes up, whether or not they physically printed out the ticket, which they're not required to, we can look it up by their address through a search on this administration side of the website. And when we pull up that particular individual, and we used Barry as an example, and when we would open up their trip ticket on the administration side, we can actually see the watermark on there that says paid, and whether or not they paid with a credit card in the upper right-hand corner with the red arrow. If it was a Unibank purchase, they would actually show a confirmation number. If they paid by a cash or check at City Hall, it would mention that cash or check by the City Hall. And then on the far right of the screen, which I didn't put a red arrow on, the administration side would select if it's going to be a paid item that's being dropped off or a no charge item that's being dropped off. And we would actually select what it is they're bringing that day, so that we, at the end of the month and the end of the year, we can see how many trips people took to bring, say, brush or yard waste or cardboard and different various items. And let's say somebody paid for 4 tires, but they're only bringing 1 at a time. When we select the drop off a paid item, we can actually then select 1 tire brought, and it would subtract it, and it would show that they still have 3 tires that are paid for that can be dropped off. So on another day or later that day, they can come and then continue to drop off those particular items. And that's how that all gets tracked. So the next slide. So the summary of the movement of monies is UniPay makes electronic transfers several times a week to the city. Any of the credit card fees, as mentioned before, are collected and kept by UniPay. Permit Eyes, which is Full Circle Technologies, has an agreement with UniPay that automatically record payments on the Permit Eyes site. And this is not done manually. This is all done automatically between UniPay, that handles the credit cards, and Permit Eyes, which handles our website, to organize all this for us. All we have to do on the administration side, once this was all set up, is when the individual comes into the drop-off center, we just check off what it is that they brought, and so that it records if it's something that was purchased to drop off, that it gets recorded. And I believe that is the last section. Stop share. So I can answer some questions.
We're going to take them at the end if we can. So
Sure.
you have time to
Oh,
think.
okay, sorry. I was going to ask one clarifying question someone
Okay.
asked.
Yeah, if
Well,
you can.
basically, if you don't have a computer, can you just go into town hall and pay? Like, basically, there's a lot of people who don't have access to computers, so how would they pay or do this?
Yeah, so what it is again, before COVID, we had kiosk computers right here on site at the drop-off center that people could then register for the permit process. And if it's a no pay item, a lot of times our drop-off center attendant would just put in the information for them, and we don't mind doing that for a no charge item. But if it is a payable item, those individuals that don't have computers are not going to be paying online, and they'll just go to the city hall and that they would input the information for them. But that's a very small portion of the population. Hope that answers it.
Thanks.
Thank you. So our
You're
next
welcome.
speaker is going to be Christopher from South Hadley to talk about your program. If you want to unmute, I think you're here.
All right, hopefully everybody can see the screen here.
Yeah.
So this is our website where everybody has to go to do everything. Let me back. So when people need to use the transfer station, they would hover over services, which brings down our trash and recycling menu. Our transfer station center, we've done a lot of new things that you're required to have a vehicle sticker. You
Hey,
would go-
Chris,
I think we're missing your site. So if you
yeah,
have a
I'm
little-
looking at a Sirius XM radio website.
Hang on a second, let me get back there. Here we go. Yeah. Mhm. Give me a minute. Can everybody see that now? Or no?
No, I think you might need to stop sharing and start resharing, because if you're looking at it on your screen, we're not seeing what you're seeing.
Yeah, hang on.
Now I see it.
So this is the website. They would go to southhadley.org. Oh. It's user friendly. Bear with me here. So they would hover over services. Before you can use our transfer station, you need to have a vehicle sticker. So all our town buildings from COVID have been closed. So everybody had to do it via the mail. Once you pay your trash fee, because our transfer station solid waste curbside pickup is all paid via trash fee. It's an enterprise fund. Everybody pays $125. So you request your trash and recycling sticker. You fill out the permit and we mail it to you. So that's been a little bit of a challenge this year. So that one thing unique about our transfer station that we started this year, and is we're a reservation only to use our transfer station. So we accept 2 reservations every 5 minutes, whether you're using the transfer station recycling center or the yard waste facility. And through that, you have to request online. People that can't do it online, they can call and we'll fill the form out. They can also mail in for their trash sticker for those that don't have internet access. I know our libraries had a kiosk that they've been using. So the people would go to the website and then they would look at the calendar at what day they'd like to use, and it shows all the times that are taken. So like today at 9 a.m. we had one, we would accept a second one at 9 a.m. And then they scroll down, they fill out the information, name, email, because we email you a yes or no that you can come, your vehicle sticker number. If you want to use the transfer station compost or both. And then you click submit and you can come use the facility. One of the things that we did this year was prepayment. You have to prepay online. If you can't prepay online, you can mail us a check and then we will call you once we have that so that you can make your appointment, or we'll help you make it. We use PayPal as our vendor. They charge a nominal fee for that, and that you just go down and add whatever you want to the cart. We service 6,600 residences through curbside pickup and the transfer station. We have about 1,800 residences using the transfer station. So we had to institute some fees with the recycling and trash costs, and we're pay as you throw. So you have to use town green bags, whether you come to the transfer station or not. And just to offset some of the costs, we charge a nominal fee of $5 for up to 10 bags of household garbage and 10 containers of recycled. We are a dual stream. And it's helping cover the cost because we have to pay for compactors and containers and hauling. We are reworking this website so that whether it's a pay item or a free item, you're going to have to check it off and it's going to be tied to the appointment. Right now, you show an e-receipt or you print out a paper receipt when you come, and our attendants just check it off on if they have a printout or the iPad when somebody comes to use it. This is all on our Civic Ready website. Our IT department came up with the calendar and booking system and this PayPal site to pay for everything. And it's worked out really well. It's controlled any of our crowds that we used to have. We went from only being open Wednesdays and Fridays to now we're open Tuesday through Saturday, 8 to 3, which I think the residents have enjoyed. It's worked well. During the winter, it gives the staff time to organize bulbs and other things that we have to sort. It's worked really well. I was apprehensive when I pitched this to everybody. The first 3 months were very tough. There was a lot of pushback that the residents thought that they could social distance, because through this, we've closed our swap shop, our furniture swap for now. And there's a lot of things that we don't take just due to the rising costs. We don't take construction waste or bulky items. So the staff, we found places that can go locally for people. And I think it's been a welcome change that, you know, we all make appointments for doctors, dentists, getting your car work done. So this, it made sense and it does work well. You know, now you got to make an appointment to get your hair cut if you want to go to the barbers and get an appointment. So it's been relatively cost free to us because our own in-house IT did it. So that's about it.
There's a question about your appointment times. Do people generally honor them?
So our appointment time, you know, I figured you're going to have 3 types of people. You're going to have the person who's 10 minutes early, the person who's right at 9 o'clock, and you have the person who's 10 minutes late. With the 2 appointments every 5 minutes, that's only 6 people every 15 minutes. So it really wasn't a big thing. You know, if they're a half hour, as long as there's no lines, it's a transfer station recycling center. You might as well have a town meeting. So that was the purpose of this was, you know, people want to come and hang out. we don't want to encourage that. We want them to come take care of their business, keep the line moving. It's one way, and it's worked well with that.
Irene, are we good to go with more questions or?
No, I want to say we have 2 more speakers. So
Oh,
I want-
okay, sorry.
So thank you so much, Chris. And
welcome.
we're going to have Holyoke. If Michael can share. I think you're on. Is Michael here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Great.
I can't share though.
Todd, is he able to share? Did we make him a host?
Yes, he is.
I know you're having the computer issues. We do have your website, if you want me to just open up your website.
When I click on the green share screen, I get a pop-up that says host disabled participant screen sharing.
And we
All
have,
right, there you go. Try it again.
Great.
there you go.
Okay. So Holyoke, we
La Pala. Sí, pero
Um,
ahora se me puso en Don speaking.
we allow
¿Cómo
residents
salgo de ahí?
and tenants to
Can
Uh,
everybody mute?
drop off material at our headquarters. That's where we operate our transfer station. DPW, it used to be an old trolley barn. So it has all these bays, these 9 bays, and 2 of our bays are used for the transfer station. Before COVID, we were open to the public Monday through Friday. And then if there's ever a holiday during the week, we would be open on Saturdays from 7:30 to noon. It's free to residents. With we have this little refuse disposal card that people come into the office. They fill out some paperwork and get the card, and then they use that at our facility to dump. So this is one of the bays. It's one-way traffic through the bays. This is our paint shed. This is our construction debris. There's our mattress roll-off, which we did have the grant for mattress disposal, which ended just now, but we're continuing it. And then we also have space for cardboard recycling and other recycling and propane tanks in this bay. In our other bay, this is where we take households, refuse, more recycling. This trailer is for our tires. We take tires, and behind that truck is an electronics dumpster. And this is our scrap metal dumpster. So we do take a bunch of different items. We have it set up, since it's free to residents, you get a certain number of items per year. So like for propane tanks, we'll take 2 tanks per year. For appliances, what we call Freon, I believe it's 2 per year. The same thing with electronics, tires, 8 per year, fluorescent light bulbs, refuse and trash, and the construction debris. We limit it to trips per year. So 7 trips. You can come to our facility 7 times per year to dispose of your construction debris. We do take latex paint at our paint station. We also take aerosols, but we don't take herbicides, pesticides, and other hazardous chemicals. We do take furniture. So everything from mattresses and box springs, lazy boys and couches. There's a limit to 2 pieces of furniture per year, whether it's a mattress and a box spring would be your 2, or a couch and a chair. And then since COVID happened, we started an appointment system. We were doing one appointment every 15 minutes. Since then, we've gotten rid of the appointments, and now we're open on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and also the Saturdays after a holiday. But we do have a lot of signage to help people with their trips. This is the shack where the one bay attendant resides. There's a computer inside the shack with a barcode scanner. And when the resident comes with their vehicle, they hand over the card, he scans it. And if there's any issues with the card, it'll alert him at that point in time. Then he can radio the office. And, so there's a resident with a card that's declined, and the office staff can look it up and try to find out why it's declined. We have shut people's cards off for non-payment of sewer or other city fees, or even taxes. So in order to get their cards turned back on, they have to come into the office and pay their past due sewer bills or other fees. The attendant also can put into the system what items this person's bringing, whether they're bringing electronics or tires or furniture, or just construction debris. And if they want to dispose of more items than they have a limit for, the attendant notifies them, and they come into the office to pay a fee for additional items. We charge $10 per additional item, regardless of whether it's a mattress or electronics or a Freon item. Except for tires. We charge $4 per tire. This is the computer system that we have. It's a database that's run through a web browser. It's ancient, and it's not very user-friendly, like some newer systems would be. But this is what the staff sees in the office. This is where they can add customer information, and there's also some limited reporting that can be done with our system. So just to find a customer if they need a new card, or to disable an old card. This is my card, so you can see I don't really come here that often to throw stuff away, but it lists all of the visits that each card has had, and what was brought during that visit. These are the items and what we're allowed every year. So 8 tires, 2 propane tanks, 2 electronics. Demolition, it's unlimited. But it's controlled by those number of visits to the facility. 5 Freon furniture, and then others just the catch-all for anything else, whether it's scrap metal or just regular household garbage. We use the same cards for our yard waste facility, which is at a different location, where people can bring glass clippings and brush, and there they have 40 visits per year. But if someone was going to bring 3 TVs, they're allowed 2, and they'd have to buy another sticker, what we call a sticker. The office would put it on the card, and then they could go back around and have their card scanned again. and the attendant would take those 3 electronic devices off for this year. This is the reporting that we can get. So it just lists so far this year. We've had 35 electronics dropped off, 72 visits for the demolition dumpster, and what we consider a visit for a demo is a half load for a standard pickup truck, and then free on furniture, and then other. And we could also look at how many visits we get per day throughout the year with their reporting, and even drill into those extra stickers. What are people buying their stickers for? Whether it's furniture or TVs. Someone just knocked on my door and startled me. And that's pretty much our system here at Holyoke.
Thank you so much, Michael, for sharing. And we have one more, and then we'll get to a whole bunch of the questions. So everybody keep on putting down in your chat what questions you have for everybody. So if we can have Paul share from Sandwich. So I don't remember if you were going to share your own, or I know we have it on, your presentation is on our drive. Hello, you're muted. Paul, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, 1 minute. Can you hear
There you
me?
go. Yep.
All right, I'm going to try to pull up my presentation here. Can you see that?
Not yet. I'm trying to press it again. Do share screen on the bottom.
Yep. How's
There we
that? We good?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. All right, good morning all, and thank you. And I have to start off by saying that I was concerned about my availability today because of the storm, but I do have to mention, and not to rub it in, but the Cape got all rain, no snow. So I feel for you off Cape towns that have to plow today. The best of luck to you. If it makes you feel any better, we got high winds last night, so we're sort of tree mode right now in terms of cleaning up, but we fared pretty well with the storm. So on to my presentation, and I'm going to talk about our kiosk payment system for the town of Sandwich Transfer Station. And there's a few things that I just want to give you a little background about, and maybe some history of why we decided to install a kiosk system. And just to give you sort of orient you as to where our facility is. This is Route 130 right here. It's a main corridor that goes through Sandwich. Exit 2 is at the bottom of the screen. It's a major interchange that connects to Route 6. To get into our transfer station, we have a driveway. You take a right, you go by the gatehouse. This is the kiosk station right here. You travel down the driveway, and eventually you get to our disposal area, which is down here for recycling and solid waste. We have a small facility. We don't have the luxury of Holyoke of having a trolley barn with bays, which sounds very nice, but we do our best to funnel our traffic through our transfer station as best as we can. We have approximately about 1,000 vehicles per day. One of the issues that we had in the past, and as you can imagine during the summer, we get a lot of traffic on Cape Cod, and a lot happening at this interchange. And as you all know, we have rush hours at our transfer stations. And occasionally what would happen is the traffic queues were so bad that they would queue up on a driveway back onto Route 130 and extend beyond the interchange, causing all kinds of problems when the interchange had heavy traffic as well during the summer. So you can imagine that the state wasn't too happy with that. And we worked with them to come up with some solutions. And I'll talk to you a little bit about some of those solutions that we came up with, including the kiosk. So one thing we looked at doing was installing a webcam, and we figured that this was a good option because the people at home, the residents using the transfer station, could take a look at the webcam to determine when traffic was backed up at the driveway. So they could pick and choose when they wanted to come to the transfer station to avoid the major traffic backups. So the camera had a way of metering the traffic throughout the day. We also implemented pay-as-you-throw about 9 years ago. That reduced trips to the transfer station. People were generating less trash, which in turn reduced the amount of trips they had to make to the transfer station. We also worked with Mass DOT when they were redesigning the interchange at exit 2. They looked at a signal, and we asked them at the time if they could add a turn lane on Route 130 to get into our facility for the people waiting to line up for the transfer station. So they were kind enough to install a turning lane, and it gets these people going to the transfer station out of the Route 130 traffic, which helped out tremendously. So that leads us to the next option, which was the kiosk. And one of the reasons for the kiosk, obviously, we wanted to reduce traffic at the gate because the transactions took some time. So we wanted to eliminate that and hopefully reduce the traffic at the site drive. We also wanted to reduce the transactions that had to be made by the gate attendants, accountability issues, and the attendants weren't comfortable with handling large sums of cash. So we came up with the idea of a kiosk station. And initially, before we did this, we transferred the transactions to a different town facility, but that didn't work out so well because the residents would come to the transfer station, we send them down to the other facility to get their tickets, and they come back here. So it was really inconvenient. So we thought the kiosk would be the best solution to take care of that. And as you can see here, we have a little storage area for our kiosk. It stores about 2 cars. On the right, you can see the kiosk, which is a kiosk from Parkion, but it's managed by Westcor. And it's a fairly straightforward method to get your tickets. It takes cash, credit, or debit. It's very self-explanatory, very similar to a parking meter you might see in a downtown area. It is wireless. It runs off a satellite. Occasionally, we do have some coverage issues. It's also solar. We chose to go solar, but so you need to make sure you capture the sun's rays. We had to clear some trees in order to do that. The system is pretty secure. It's really heavy duty. We also close the gate at night, so no vehicles can access the site at night. And we do empty the cash out quite frequently. This slide shows the tickets that it spits out, and you can program it to your needs. It also gives out reports to break down what people were purchasing, and we generally use it for our bulky items, also what we call non-routine items such as computers, mattresses, tires, white goods, things of that nature. We had about, I think, 35 transactions per year. Last year, that's roughly what we get, which is about 14 transactions per day at our facility. You can also change the dollar amounts if you do have increases each and every year. So just to give you a sort of an overview of the cost for this machine, the Parkion fee for installation in the machine is about $13,000. These fees a little while ago, so those might be a little bit higher than they are right now. There's also the remote monitoring that's performed by Westcor. That's about $660 per year. There's also bank fees with the transactions. You can go with the fixed or variable. The fixed is about $10 per month. The variable is about 3 to 4% of sales. There's also a preventative maintenance cost, which is about $750 per year. So that concludes my presentation, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today.
Thank you so much for sharing, Paul, and especially last minute. So I think, no, we have lots of questions for this topic, so let's get into some of these questions that you had first, Janice.
So I gotta go back here. I think there were some of these that were answered from Holyoke during his talk, but one of the questions that I thought maybe everybody could answer is someone asked, I'm always impressed by how these run with what sounds like minimal staff. If anyone's willing to share how you educate your users, I'd appreciate. So how do you tell people how, and like if you're, moving from no time, whatever, appointment to appointment time, like how do you get people to know how your processes are changing?
So I can start for Sandwich anyway. And we don't have appointments, so there is a bit of a learning curve. When we first installed it, people had to learn how to use it. Those familiar with parking systems were pretty capable of using it, but we did have to teach them. We had the gate attendant still at the shack that would come out and educate the people on how to use the system. So over time they got used to it and are very capable of using our system right now.
Okay, so how we got people to use it is our transfer station was closed. The town closed for a period of 6 weeks. Employees only came in to do emergency calls and things like that. So we had it in the town reminder. It went on the town website. It was discussed at selectmen's select board meetings, which are on the local cable channel. And it spread word of mouth because it was new and nobody wanted to use it. I just had a resident who just moved to town the other day, wanted to come get rid of some trash, first time using it, and they thought it was very good. They didn't have to waste their day waiting in line as it used to be on Wednesdays and Saturdays. There were lines for people getting in. So you just have to get it out to however you get information out in the town, and it's worked well for us.
And what about for the change in payment method? Was that a steep learning curve too?
No, it was the same way for us. We got everything out there. We were closed for a period of 60 days. So we had some time to get the information out.
Right. So this is for Mike and Holyoke. What do you guys do with your latex paint? I guess as somebody was asking. And then, and they also wanted to know if you could explain the card that you use with a little more detail.
Okay, so latex paint, we mix it and then set it aside for people to come and it's like a paint shed type deal. So we have a bunch of DPW white and DPW gray, which can be any color of the spectrum from mixing different batches of paint. And then the card, I guess I'm not really sure what specific question or how to elaborate on the card.
Mike, is it delivered to everybody? Like, did people get it in the mail or you pick it up? Like, how does it first get out to people?
So you have to come into the office and we take your information. We try to, since it's resident based, each property has a card. So if somebody sells their house and a new owner comes in to get their card, then we can deactivate the old card. So there's a little bit of paperwork there. And then if someone loses their card, they have to come into the office to get another card because it's a physical card. It's not, there's no PIN number or anything like that someone could use electronically. It's this physical card.
Is there a renewal necessary for the card or a charge or fee?
So there is for tenants. Tenants, it's $10 per year. And they need to bring in a lease agreement in order to get the card. And then every year they have to come back in, pay the fee, and also show that there's still a tenant at that property. Because since we're not really collecting a whole heck of a lot of money from the stickers that we sell or the $10 from the tenants, all of the disposal cost is paid for through the city's general fund as part of the taxes that people pay. So it's the goal to try to limit it just to Holyoke residents. That's one of the issues that we've had with this card is I use my father-in-law as an example of no evidence that he's done this, but he owns property in Holyoke and his primary residence is in South Hadley. He lived in Holyoke for a long time. I'm sure he has one of these cards. I've never checked, but I'm sure he has one. So he could get a new mattress set for himself, and instead of paying the fee to dispose of it now in South Hadley, he could bring it to Holyoke for free as long as he still has his physical card. And my brother-in-law, who lives at his house in Holyoke, the rental property, he could get a tenant card and do the same thing. So the card system, where you have a certain number of items you can dispose of per year, could be used and abused by people, whereas a pay-as-you-throw type model is, I don't want to say more honest, but it keeps the cost clear. And Holyoke is going to move towards a pay-as-you-throw type model. We just haven't had the staffing capacity to do that yet.
Thanks. So a question for the community with this of Sandwich, sorry. Getting the Sturbridge and Sandwich confused. So how many users use your transfer station that's in Sandwich? How is the $13,000 fee paid? Is the transfer station self-funding?
Okay, yeah, the transfer station is an enterprise fund, so it is self-funding. So the cost to purchase and maintain that is passed on to the sticker holders that use the transfer station. And I think someone else had a question. We have about 3,500 transactions per year using the ticket machine. It's obviously gone down a little bit with the pandemic, but those are our numbers.
Yeah, it was actually, what's the average use per day? And it was another question about education and the elderly.
The 3,500 equates to about 14 per day for Sandwich transactions per day.
And how many people in Sandwich are needed to verify the tickets?
So we have 5,000 households that use the transfer station.
But for people on staff?
Oh, okay. So initially when the motorists drive in, the gate attendants take a look at what they're having, they discuss what they need to do, and they direct them to use the machine. So once they use the machine, it spits out 2 tickets. The residents get to keep 1 receipt. The other ticket goes down to the staff at the transfer station, and the gate attendant notifies that they're coming down, so they know they're coming, and that ticket goes to the staff member there. So basically 2 people would be involved with the transaction and the disposal of that item.
Okay, this is a question for everyone. I think it has mostly been answered, but I guess if you want to just put up on fingers, how many staff at drop off when you're open? How many staff do you have? 2? Four. Okay, and then how many staff hours spent at drop off when it's not open? That you can actually use your voices for if you want.
We're open 40 hours a week, so we have 1 to 2 staff during those 40 hours a week.
Any staff time that we spend is just for cleanup. So it's not a whole heck of a lot of time.
Okay, and then I actually have another question for you about the latex paint. People want to know what do you do with bad or spoiled paint, like if it's been frozen or somehow, or maybe dried up, not usable? And then do the people take the DPW white and gray, or does the city use it?
So if it's bad or spoiled paint, we'll mix it with sawdust so that we can dispose of it. And yeah, people do take it. And the city does use it as well on our own little projects.
Okay. And Arlene Miller had her hand up earlier. I don't know, Arlene, I didn't mean to call you out, but if you still had a question, you wanted to ask it, please feel free. I don't see any other here in the chat that we haven't covered.
Because we are running a little late here, so I want to.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready to wrap for me.
So we're gonna have our second poll. So if Todd, if you can share us our next poll. Here we go. Recycling spend. What have you spent your RDP money on to aid your transfer station? Multiple choice. So fill out all the stuff that you've been spending your money on. So after this poll, then we're going to have Will and Julia talk, and then we will split into our MAC groups.
It's starting to slow down. Maybe we should close it out so we can move on.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Close it now. So 64% equipment, that's great. But there's some others in here of education, that's great, 44%. So, and I think if we can close that out, and then Julia's going to share.
Yeah, I'm going to share a presentation and then pass it to Will for questions and answers. So I'm just going to share my screen. Trying to.
There you go.
Welcome to our PSA on spending your RDP funds. Do you have a stockpile? Mass DEP awards RDP to be spent on waste reduction projects that you decide on. It is not a rainy day fund, yet 5.7 million is sitting in accounts all over the Commonwealth. That's more than half of what has ever been awarded. If you have ever watched the movie or the play Hello, Dolly, you know this quote, "Money is like manure, and so is an RDP. Please spread it around and spend your RDP. The best way to spend it is to spend it on something that will earn you more RDP in the following year." At the end of this presentation is a link to the approved expenses list. I am following those categories. The first category is beyond the bin. Use your RDP to pay for transport or processing of any material collected in a center for hard to recycle materials. Here's the list, but I am highlighting mattresses because you'll earn 3 materials toward the 8 you'll need to earn more RDP. The next category is closing the loop. Spend up to $2,000 on recycled content products. Lowell bought wiping cloths, and that earned them an activity point towards earning RDP for textiles. You can buy so much great equipment with RDP. Wellesley bought this container for their paint recycling. And Medford just bought this compactor for their drop-off for recyclables. They estimate that they will save $30,000 in hauling. With that savings, they could buy another compactor. And they're earning RDP because they are providing recycling to residents not served by the curbside program. You can spend RDP on improving your drop-off like South Hadley did with these new stairs. That's what we call model programming. Wayland improved their drop-off by adding electricity, Wi-Fi, and a credit card payment system. Organics diversion is another place to spend and invest, like Wellesley did, by subsidizing home compost bins using RDP, and by adding a food waste drop-off, you'll earn 2 RDP points. Outreach and education, this is how to make an impact. Signage. Look at this beautiful Haverhill electronic sign. They just bought it. You can run multiple messages at a time, and you can change the message every day. Education. Do you lack a training budget for yourself? Use RDP to attend a conference and spend a day or two learning what is new in recycling and composting, and mingle with your peers. Pay for an annual membership too with RDP. Do you need to keep your volunteers at the transfer station happy? Get them a new swap shed. That's what the town of Lincoln did with their RDP. And Winchester got a big tent for their swap area. You can also use RDP for household hazardous waste. The town of Dennis spends their RDP to offer 3 household hazardous waste events per year. If you offer 2, you'll earn another RDP point. Finally, stop sitting on those RDP funds. Put them to use. If you want to do another waste reduction effort you don't find on the list, ask MassDP if it's okay to spend the funds on your project. We need you to spread around that RDP, putting it to work, reducing waste at your transfer station. Thank you. That's it for the presentation, and we can pass it over to Will, if Will can turn
Yeah.
on his screen.
Yeah, my screen is on. Thanks, Julia. And also thanks to, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, thanks also to Tessa, Irene, David, Christopher, Michael, and I think Paul, for those great presentations. So hello, everyone. Great to be here with you all. I'm sure Julia's presentation has generated a few RDP spending questions. So I'm the RDP program manager with the waste reduction branch at MassDP. As you all know, RDP will provide payments to any municipality that have implemented specific programs and policies proven to maximize reuse, recycling, and waste reduction, and that includes transfer stations. So before we begin, I have some good news to share. Going forward, RDP will pay for all HHW events. At this point, I will go ahead and put the list of approved expenses in the chat box. For your reference, I always refer to it when I get any spending requests. So this should be your guide as you look into spending RDP funds. Most of the emails I get have answers on that sheet. Again, I will encourage you all to look at it first before reaching out to me with questions. Beyond that list, we are interested to hear about your creativity with your waste reduction efforts. If you are able to demonstrate to us to demonstrate what is possible, we'll be happy to let you use RDP funds. So at this point, I'm open for questions, comments, feedback, or concerns regarding RDP spending. Thank you.
I do want to remind everybody that February 15th is coming quick, and your RDP annual survey report is due, and that says where you've spent your RDP money for 2020. And I know this past year has been crazy for everybody, but we do want people to use their money. The other thing that's due February 15th is your solid waste and recycling survey. So those are all on retrack. And if you have questions on that, to talk to your MAC. Do you have any questions for Will here? I don't know if there was any in the chat, or if you guys have any items that you've been thinking, well, can I use my RDP for this? We do want, or if you have something that you've spent your money on that you'd want to share with everybody.
There's a question in the chat about the new rules for HHW for RDP.
So Will, do you want to address that a little more?
Yeah, what is the question? I haven't seen.
It says clarify new guidelines for using RDP for HHW, i.e. change to setup fees versus processing costs. What happened to matching funds? Do towns need a designated line item to receive matching funds if this is still an eligible expenditure? And I think what you said was it's very simplified. Mass DEP will pay for HHW. You can use your RDP funds to pay for HHW events. Is that correct, Will?
Yes, that's correct.
Will that be updated in the eligible expenses? It's not in the link.
That is true. We'll work to update that. This is like new information that just, we just made that decision recently.
Yay.
At
This point, there are no other chats, no other questions.
Great. I know we're pretty much getting over and we've taken some of our time. So I want to say thank you for everybody, their time on this. And I know this is a topic that we want to get more into. I do think I'm Irene and Vonique and I were talking that we in Central Mass and Western Mass have a lot of transfer stations, and that we would like to have another meeting at some point, and hopefully again within this year. And we will get back to you. But I do want to break us out into the.
Irene, do we have a poll first?
We do have a poll. You're correct. Let's go to the third poll. So Todd, can you do that? Everybody, what would you like to learn more so that when we have our next meetings, we want to know from you of what you're interested in. Okay, I think we're gonna close out the poll here. So I want to know about some more hollow regulations and composting and charm. So this is great. And reuse came in all the same. I think most people are pay as you throw on the group, but who's interested in pay as you throw, put your name in the chat, and please talk to your MAC about that, because that by far is the #1 program that will reduce your trash by 30 to 50% right away. And it is amazing how fast it impacts. And it's just a wonderful program. So Todd, if we can do the breakout sessions, and we have a nice button, so close out the poll. And thank you guys for your time, and enjoy your talks with your Macs.
All right, I'm going to open all the rooms. If there's anybody left over, we will figure out which room to put you in. Okay. Let's just give it a second. Tess, I thought I had you in Veronique. Oh no, you know what? I didn't have you in there because you didn't sign up. Let's see. Unassigned, there we go. Tessa, which room do you want to be put in? You gotta take yourself off mute though.
Irene?
You want Irene's? All right.
Yes, thanks.
There you go. Let's see. Paul, how you doing? Do you want to be thrown in one of these rooms for one of the districts, or?
Hey, Todd, thanks for putting this together. I'll go to Irene in Central Mass, please.
You got it. All right. Melissa, are you still on? David, you want to be in, you're in Western, right?
Yep.
All right. Throw you over there. Let's see. Michael, you're Western, right?
Correct.
Where are you? There you are. Western. Let's see. Who else do we have? Anne, which group do you want to be put in?
Are you talking to Anna Smith?
No, Ann McGovern. Well,
Can
You put me in Boston's group, Todd?
there is no Boston group. We got rid of it and we put it with Northeast 3.
Okay, can you put, oh, okay, put me in that one then.
You got it. All right, Anna, Southbridge. You're Central, right?
Yes, Irene is my Mac.
All right, I'm gonna throw you over there right now.
Thank
Who else do we have? Janine.
Oh,
And let's see, Lori. Let's
yeah,
see.
could you put me with Julia? You've got requests in the chat line, but maybe you're not checking that.
Oh,
Thanks.
sorry. I've got a bunch going on. So.
Yep,
All right.
thanks.
Melissa with Julia. She's 2. Whoops. Did I put her in the wrong one? Northeast 3. Adam. Which MAC group do you want to be put in? Which district? No, okay. And then I'm going to jump into this one.